It's Yafeuh Balogun, street reporter. Here to talk about a subject that we always hear in the community. We got country black here. It's a subject that we always hear. I heard it growing up. I heard it as a teenager. I heard it just the other day. The big question is, are we Native American, African, or Hebrew? Now, I usually think we gotta address the Hebrew question, but I know we got our Hebrew Israelites that be out in the community. And if you from any major city across the United States of America, at least urban environment, you might have saw them out trying to get their information out. Most time they reading the Bibles out loud. They aggressive with their statements. Can come across very aggressive. So I thought none other to bring country black guy here, what I'm saying, try to get his perspective. I just want to say initially, I may or may not agree with country black's perspective. I just want to say that as a disclaimer. However, I think he's one of the best people to kind of discuss the subject matter because he is well researched. So let me ask you, country black, and I'm just gonna kind of jump straight forward, straight to it, really. You know what I'm saying? Are we Native American, African, or Hebrew, and why?
Well, brother, excuse my COVID. I'm gonna be honest with you. I had a DNA test performed on me, and I'm African. Now,
Okay.
I've heard folks in the community say that they Native American, and I've heard folks say they Hebrew, but none of these people have proof of this. I
Hmm.
always ask them, "What does your DNA say? Have you ever had a DNA test?" And they always say, "Well, we don't do that." The Hebrews say, "Well, that's a tool of the devil," or they get racist with it. A tool of white folks. As white people invented science. You know, the people who say that they Native American, they say that the white folks trying to cover up that they Native American, so they wouldn't put it in the DNA test. So I mean, I don't even know how I would approach an argument with somebody who doesn't accept science or logic. Some people just believe what they want and they're gonna run with it. Uh, you can't debate that. You can't argue with that. All you have to do is accept what these people believe. Some people believe they Arab. They black as me and you, and they run around here with a name like Muhammad. And say that they Islamic and they speak in Arabic. You know, me knowing that I'm a West African descent man, it's kind of disrespectful because I know that these people have a heritage and a culture that they refusing to acknowledge. For what reason? I mean, that's up for debate. I've heard some say that people look for materialism in history, and they want to be tied to a society that was a top tier society that had buildings and structures that they could look back on and be prideful about. I'm not that guy. If I found out that in a past life in history I was a hermit crab, I would be a hermit crab. That's what I am. You know, I'm one of those accept what you are and make the most of it type of individuals. So it's just how I look at it. I can't hear you. I can hear you
so,
now.
so if you can, and I'm gonna step away for about 30 seconds. But while I do that, if you can explain like your progression, because we always talk offline. Just so folks know, I talk to country black oftentimes. I talk to them
Well, I'll
almost.
explain my religious and spiritual progression.
Go ahead.
I was raised as a missionary Baptist. My father was a preacher. All while I was coming up, I believe in my early childhood, he actually was a deacon, and he said God called him to preach, and he became a preacher. So I grew up with a preacher as a dad. In 2008, I became a minister, a Baptist minister. Uh, I did research. I read the Bible. I studied, and some of those things in the Bible just didn't sit right with me. Being an African man, I started to realize that I am a Gentile per the Bible. I'm not a Hebrew. I'm a Gentile. Um, the Bible say that if you're not a Jew, you're a Gentile, and so I fit under that criteria. I'm not from Israel. I have no ties to Israel or Palestine. uh, so after learning this information that I am a Gentile, I started to, become disenfranchised with, your base Christianity. I started to look around at the pro-black community to see what they were talking about, because at that point, growing up in rural Louisiana, I became tired of hearing things such as black people didn't have a God before slavery was pushed upon them. Slavery was the best thing for black people because they could come into the knowledge of Jesus Christ. I got tired of hearing things like that. I believe that God was not a racist. So I wanted to deep dive and see what really was the deal with this religious stuff.
Right.
So the Hebrew Israelite community caught my eye. I started doing research on the Hebrew Israelite community. I bought the yarmulke. I was wearing a kippet, walking around, small town Louisiana. I was, studying, the Hebrew dogma. I even went into the Kabbalah and things of that nature.
Right.
Um, After studying, I realized that, hey, this is still Hebrew propaganda, and I'm a Gentile, per the Bible. Either you a Jew or a Gentile per the Bible. So at that point, I decided to, I joined different fraternities, and I joined the Masonic fraternity. I don't know why I did the air quotes, but I joined the Masonic fraternity. In the Masonic fraternity, you learn about different religions, Zoroastrianism, Egyptology, things of that nature. I have an
Right.
uncle that's a big Egyptologist. He used to tell me all this stuff about, Amun Ra and all that. You know, um, but being a student of history, I realized that no slave ship went around to Egypt, put slaves on the ship, came around what is the Cape of Good Hope from in South Africa and back up to the Americas. No slave ship did that. If I realized that if my people came from Egypt and we was caught in the bondage, we probably would have ended up in the Middle East somewhere. You know, and the horrors that came along with that. There's castrating men and things of that nature. So they can't reproduce in slavery, but I'm not gonna, this conversation isn't about the horrors that people go through as far as Middle Eastern slavery. Just decided to, put that in there. But it left me disenfranchised because I realized that, hey, I'm not Egyptian, you know? So my wife, she's not an African American. She's actually Mexican American, and I was on some, some pro black stuff back then. I got her pregnant, and I said, you know what? If you're gonna have a black baby, you're gonna have to watch Roots. And so while she was bedridden, I made her watch all 12 hours of Roots, and she liked Roots. So when Roots came out again in, I think, 2015, 2016, she
Y'all
wanted,
watched it.
yeah, she wanted to watch the new Roots. And I said, no, I don't want to watch Roots because I'm going to get mad. And she said, well, I want to watch it. So she put Roots on and I was mad. So one day I came home from work. She had a DNA test for me. She said, spit in this tube. We're going to find out where you come from. And wherever it say you're from, we're going to go there. We're going to totally submerge ourselves in your culture. And we're going to figure out who you are. And we're going to do that. So I did the DNA test. It came back that I was ethnically from the Yoruba tribe of Southwest Nigeria. So at that point, I learned the language.
Let me chime in on this. Let me chime in. Hold your thought. Hold your thought. So
Okay.
you saying one day you came home from work and your wife had the DNA kit,
Yes.
and she said country black spit in this,
Yeah.
and you spit in it,
Yeah.
and y'all sent it off. How
Yeah.
long did it take for your
About a month and a half, 2 months.
2 months?
Yeah.
Okay, 2 months goes, and basically you get something in the mail. I presume. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, no, I got it. I got an email.
Got an email, and
Yeah.
then I don't know if you can share that email. No, you probably can't even
I
share it
probably
with me.
can't even find it. I
Okay,
might
you
go
probably
back through my emails and find it.
got you.
But I have to look for it. But if I find
But
it, I'll send it to you. But
but it gave you a percentage, right?
y'all gave me a link to click on to go to the website, and the website gave me percentages.
Okay, explain that if you can, if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
So as you can see, I'll Brian show it to you. Hold on. See if you can see it. My phone about to die. I got a little bit percent, but let's see what we can get in this time before it die. Can y'all see that?
Let me see. Let me make it a little bigger here. Yeah, we okay. Yeah, we can see it. We can see it.
So as you can see, I'm mostly Nigerian,
Right,
followed by
right.
Mali, Cameroon, Congo, Benin, Togo, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Scotland, Senegal, Sweden, Denmark, Norway.
So let me in your particular I guess ethnicity estimate here that we got. Show it to us again. Uh, I don't show any Native American. I don't show anything from Israel. I don't show any of that. Like you said, mostly show Mali
Yeah,
and Nigeria.
but so I'm like every other black person. I was told that I got Indian in my blood, and I'll show you some pictures. Hold on, let me show you. Hold on,
Oh, appreciate that. Appreciate the pictures. Appreciate that.
let me see. Okay, if you can see this picture right here, this is my grandpa's grandpa and grandmother. Now, my grandpa grew up with them. Now, he says his grandmother, she was straight from Africa. She couldn't speak English. They call her Celie. My grandpa bought her. My grandpa grew up on Gold Mine Plantation down in Mangum, Louisiana. Now, my whole life, I had been told that, that's Big Mama and Papa. They said Papa was a Native American. Now, after doing the ancestry family tree, I found out that Papa wasn't Native American. Papa was mixed with white. Papa's grandfather was William P. Biddle. He was a Catholic priest. Up in Craven County, South Carolina. And then that got me to thinking, because I know a lot of black people who say, yeah, I got some Indian in my blood. Now, me knowing how, people got light skinned in slavery, it was mostly through rape. Nobody was running around saying that, my mama was raped by so and so, and that's
So so let me ask you this question
what's going on.
because I kind of want to delve into what you just stated. So, is it? And I want to put words in your mouth. Are you saying that we not gonna say all, but we gonna say some? From what I just gathered, what you're saying, are you saying that some of these people that are claiming to be of indigenous background to this particular country may have some experiences of, I think the correct term is miscegenation or rape,
Yes,
as the reason that they ancestors may be fair skinned
yes,
or have a different grade of hair other
a
than
lot of them.
African. Okay, that's why I'll make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, and so when you don't want to put that type of business out there, when you got a kid that's fair skinned and his friends and other people like, well, who is daddy? And instead of if the woman don't want to just be like, I was raped, she'll say, well, his dad an Indian man, or something like that. Smooth it over. So I'm this now. This is just my hypothesis. I'm guessing that's how a lot of black people got that into their dogma. I come from an Indian because there are fair skinned black people in every family. And to be honest with you, with all the black people in America and the fair skinned black people in America, ain't enough Indians or Native Americans to create this hybrid race of light skinned blacks. Let's just be real with you. The Native American population is less than the Black American population. The light skinned Black population is way more than the Native American population. So I mean, I'm not saying that
Why is that, you think?
because I mean it was slavery. White people raped black people during slavery. They created
No,
a hybrid race of colored people.
I mean as far as the population growth of Native Americans? Why is it that you think that this is less than, let's just say, African Americans in this country or
Well, I'm
Black
not
people?
a Native American, but just due to my studies with looking into the plight of the Native American people, they were carted off to these schools where they couldn't reap. They were actually had their culture taken away. They were carted off to school, and genocide was committed upon them as well. Native Americans have gone through a big plight here in their homeland. Not to say that everybody is complicit in this thing too. You have Native Americans that own slaves, that own black slaves. You had Native Americans that tried to assimilate with Western culture, and become slave owners and things of that nature, but they have been victims of colonialism as well.
It's interesting you said it. So I just remember growing up, and everybody I know, I'm not the only one who heard this. This is something everybody heard. We Native American.
Yeah, I
That's
heard it
one.
too.
That's like that's something that I always heard. It was always something in the overtone,
Yeah,
and then I felt a certain amount of pride with it, like maybe a false sense of pride with it. Yeah, I'm Native American. Then I remember going to school telling certain folks, this information that I was told, and guess what? They said the same thing.
yeah. But that pride that you had with being Native American, you should have had with being West African. But nobody wants to be West African. West African is them voodoo practicing, grass skirt wearing people. I guess that's what they perceive, West Africans as. You know, um, West Africa West Africa is, I mean, there's a there are vibrant cultures in West Africa coming from different people groups, from the Ewe to the Fon to the people of Benin City, the Edo State people, the Yoruba people, from the Mandinka. These different tribes have different cultures, and the cultures are beautiful. I'm proud to be a Yoruba man living in America.
I want, if I may, and you can kind of go in detail with this. Obviously, this is your experience because we basically talking about your experience. Um, so you did your DNA test. You just showed us what your breakdown was, and we appreciate you for sharing that personal information. You showed us what your breakdown was. So you immediately connect with your family members on the continent. So we
Yeah.
talking about your cousins, 12 times removed, something like that, on the continent. And if you could tell us like what that's been like, and if you want to share like personal experiences with that, that'll be cool too.
Well, my cousin just called me. I call her back on live if y'all want. Y'all want me to call her?
Call it back.
All right, let's see.
This is his cousin, 12, 13 times removed on the continent.
My phone low. I don't know if you can hear it. I need a new. I went fishing and water got in my speaker. Alafia, how are you? Bawo ni? Did you get your presents? I've been sick. Yo, I got COVID. Yeah, I'm real sick. What now? Okay, okay. I'm on a podcast right now. You live in front of some people. I'm on a podcast right now. You're live. Say hi, Ayo, to the audience. But look, when I get off this podcast, I'm gonna call you back. All right? Okay. Odabo. Yeah, that's my cousin, man.
That's deep.
Yeah, man.
That's deep right there. If you could tell us a little bit about your experiences with Ayo, since you that's who you call. If you don't have to go too intimate,
So
but
Ayo came here, and so we sent for in 2018. She came here like around November time, and it was her mother Grace, her daughter Ayomide, and her daughter Omotayo. They came here and stayed with us from November of 2018 to January of 2019. And so, while they lived here, we tried to primarily only speak the language, Yoruba language. Um, we ate the food. I'm not a big fan of palm oil. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's kind of pungent. But I ate the fufu and the amala and the suya chicken and all that. I like the suya chicken. So I totally immerse myself in my culture. I speak the language enough to, interact. Bubule wanko bauni show dada. When I talk to Ayo on the phone, I said Alafia. Alafia actually means fine, but it's used as a greeting in Europe. So you say Alafia, that means like you're fine, and you're kind of insisting on how they're doing. Well, so you say Alafia, and they say Bawoni, which is how are you, and then you say Dada ni o, Dada ni means good. If you're not good, you say you're not good. You know, so it's different things that you learn, living as a Yoruba person. Like when I enter the house after I come back from somewhere, I say Ekale, and they say Bawoni, what I'm talking about? I love you, what I'm saying? Ekale, anytime you enter and exit the house. We also have like holy water in front of our door. So when someone comes to our house or when we come home, you dip your finger in the holy water and you throw it on yourself 3 times. It's we just living our customs and traditions in America.
wow, wow. Any advice for people that's trying to basically do what you done? Uh,
Yeah, man, there's different ancestry tests. I've taken a few of them. You can go to ancestry.com, which is what I showed you, that gives you a list of a breakdown of percentages of countries that you come from. However, during the slave trade, some of these countries didn't even exist. But so if you want a true look at the ethnicity that you are, you could take the African ancestry.com and it'll show you your actual tribe. Um, if you have family members, relatives that's taking the test as well, it'll link you up to them. Ayo had taken the test, being an African. I guess she was trying to leave Africa. She ended up when she came here, she left America and went to Canada and sought asylum. She's actually trying to get away from Africa. I got a few other cousins over in Africa, in Nigeria. I have a cousin in Nigeria. I have a cousin that I speak to in Nigeria, and then his family. I don't really talk to anybody but him out of his family. And then I have a cousin in Ghana. I speak with him and his father. I spoke with his mother, his sisters in college here in America. I spoke with her. Um, yeah, and just we just try to catch up where we left off.
that's deep. That's deep. That's deep. That's deep. So I do want to say that this is, at least from my perspective, this is not attack on anyone's belief system per se, but we are just discussing what most of us as black people, or as they say, African Americans here in this country, are DNA wise connected to. All of us are more so connected, in a lot of ways, more than we think. Um, Most of us more than likely come from West Africa.
I
Although
do think it's time for us to get out of this pseudo stuff, and y'all know what I mean.
Mhm.
These different organizations that give you an ethnicity. Ain't nobody tell
call,
you.
call them out. Call them out. Call them out.
I'm not gonna do it because I don't
Okay.
want no smoke. But y'all
Okay.
know who y'all are. Y'all go to these different people who tell you that just because you're black, that means you some other person's ethnicity. That's disrespectful. For real. I've had a friend, look at me and say that he is the true Indian, and the people that living in Oklahoma, they fake it. That's disrespectful. That's
Mm,
disrespectful to all Native Americans in Oklahoma. He's culture vulturing, to be honest with you. And
mm.
black people love to say other people trying to rip black people culture off, but black people is out there taking everybody's culture because a lot of us don't know our own. And rather than do the work, do the research, submit to actual science, because like I said, science was here before any dogma. You know, mathematics, science, you know, those we call them the seven liberal arts and sciences. There's seven liberal arts and sciences, but these sciences were here before the foundation of the universe. That's what actually made the universe. These sciences, an ethnic group didn't make science, didn't create it. So for those who saying that I can't take a DNA test because that's the white man's science, or the white, the white man's thing, that's nonsense. AfricanAncestry.com is ran by black people, you know, uh, black scientists and everything. So I do recommend people to get out there, and if whatever you say you are, if you say that you from the tribe of Dan that was lost 2,000, 3,000 years ago, then you should have proof to show that you from the tribe of Dan. If you can't prove you from the tribe of Dan, then you're not from the tribe of Dan. We're just gonna be honest with you. You could have had a dream, or that you was riding up on a horse, and Jesus was behind you saying you were Danite, but unless you can prove it to me, I won't believe you. I only believe what you can prove to me. Don't come to me saying that you got these 12 tribe charts, and because you Haitian, you from Levi. How you know that? How do you know that Levi went to Haiti? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, where's the proof other than somebody telling you what you regurgitating to me? Everybody just regurgitating the story, and nobody has the proof behind it. And if you ask for the proof, they're gonna say that that's the devil. If you ask for some proof and somebody denies you the proof, that means they're trying to swindle you. To be honest with you, that's just my perception.
Right on, right on. Well, you heard it for Country Black himself, Country Black guy himself. He's went through the process, finding out DNA wise who his ancestors were, and he just talking about we just talking about Africa now, and he's actually went through that process where he can trace it all the way back through different ancestors, all the way pretty much to the first time that his people came to the continent or here in the Americas. That's
Yes,
interesting. That's something that we all should aspire to do, especially if you one of those type of people that quote unquote got this consciousness. I say you got consciousness. We should try to do that instead of just, as he stated, kind of reaching and grabbing for straws on what our history is, so to speak. Uh, so you may follow his example. It's a good thing.
yeah,
Um, Outside of that, we definitely appreciate you very much, Country Black. God, we want to bring you back, talk about some other things, but we want to talk about surface things for right now. But
but let me show
uh,
y'all this.
go
So
ahead.
while y'all trying to, be other stuff, I'm just being like Shango. Shango was the third king of my people. This
Hmm.
third king of the dynasty of the Oyo Empire. The Oyo Empire was the empire of the Yoruba people. It's
Hmm.
my actual lineage. I take pride in Shango. Like how people take pride with being Native American and these different things. I take pride in Shango and Ogun and Yemoya and Olokun. My people got history. You know, I'm from Louisiana. We eat gumbo. You know what I'm saying? We eat crawfish and okra. Those things were brought here by my people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So these are my cultural things. This is my cultural tradition. I do recommend all those who want to get out there and find a cultural tradition.
Straight up, straight up, straight up. Do me a big favor: like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Do me a big favor: like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Request Country Black to come back. We got some more stuff to talk with Country Black guy. Other than that, it's been Yafeuh Balogun, street reporter. Let me see here. How do I get out of here? There it is. Right. Nope, that ain't it. Yeah, it is. Country Black guy. We appreciate you so much. Peace, power, and prosperity to you, sir.